different, Heidi.
Our first lady.
A few words, yes. We'll keep it. We believe in small, efficient government here, so I'll give a very small speech. My wife, who always has good things to say, pointed out the benefits sometimes our practical frugality is that we avoided all the controversy they had in North Carolina because we're too frugal here to actually even have male or female bathroom places in our bathrooms. So by being frugal, sometimes we solve some problems. So anyway, that was her input of the day. And, I've given the state of the town speech for a long time, and I've got to say this is the first time I can say Cornwall is always doing things new. And as we're speaking, this is the first time I can say the town is actually on fire. So that's a first, not to be outdone by California. But the fire is being monitored by the state, and you should have gotten a call reassuring you that if you just smell smoke, it's okay. If you actually see flames, then we might want to get a call to 911. We do try to stay calm at all times, all that good things. But the real reason we're here is to welcome the new people in town. Cornwall has lost a lot of its stellar citizens in the last several years. We constantly need to reinvent ourselves. We need to have new blood. This is a volunteer-run community. I'm sort of the cork on the ocean that pops around at official events, but it's really the volunteers that run this place, and there are people who come to this tea, and in less than 2 years later have been known to run the Child Center, been known, I see a man over there that got a phone call from me at 6:30 on Thursday morning saying we got a major brush fire, we better get going, what are we going to do? And he spent his afternoon walking around unknown parts of Cornwall trying to find fires with the fire department. So we are constantly in need of people of all things. We also need people to keep the glue together, and I think one of the things that keeps the town together is really the Chronicle. We need to communicate with each other, because I think one of the best things of being a volunteer-based town is you're forced to work with people that you don't necessarily agree with all the time. And it's because an increasingly polarized country, this is a very diverse town. Not everybody agrees, especially about politics, but they all seem to work together for the common good, and a lot of really cool stuff gets done. We help raise scholarships for our kids, we preserve farms, we encourage a child center, we have a great school, and we have a great fire department and ambulance corps that will come out anytime for any emergency, and that is all done by volunteers. And so we constantly need people to keep this thing going, so we welcome anyone to do as much or as little as they feel. There's no big obligations other than what you feel you should do and what your place is, but there's tremendous opportunities for friendship and good feelings by just working together with people. And what also a lot of these people are from very interesting parts of the world, different places, different backgrounds, different capacities. So it's a very interesting place, and I congratulate anyone that has moved here on your selection, and welcome. Thanks for coming, and thanks also for the association for recognizing this. We need to, there are no walls being proposed to be put up at Cornwall's borders. We need more immigrants to come to town all the time to renew us, to refresh us, to help us do good things. So thank you for coming, and have a great time. And congratulations to the Chronicle for 25 years. And I'm not the first person to notice. Again, it's an amazing town. I just came from a wedding in the refurbished North Cornwall Church, which is another whole volunteer organization. I rang the bell. The rope didn't break. It was a great wedding.
The steeple didn't fall.
The steeple did not fall down. There's a tractor parade with a bride and groom going down Town Street. It was quite unique. And then we come here to the Cornwall Chronicle party, and there's 400 people that have written for the Chronicle. That's a third of the town. I mean, to have that kind of variety in 3 miles is pretty spectacular. So thanks to everybody to make this thing happen. Thanks to Ed for taking the reins, and have a good time. And welcome. I'm glad to meet everybody.
Thank you very much. I want to second what Gordon says. When we moved to town, we were given a welcome party on town. When we moved to Town Street, we were given a welcome party by our neighbor, who is a Scoville. And the Scovilles, if you didn't know that, have been around here for centuries. But she was married to an Egyptian and lived in Geneva and Nice as well as Cornwall. So that tells you something about Cornwall, that you have people who have with deep roots but cosmopolitan range. Anyway, thank you all for coming today. The real Chronicle testimonial will be coming along in a few when Ella Clark reads Ken Keskinen's 10th anniversary salute. I could not possibly compose any kind of toast to rival that, so I'm going to settle here for an extended but certainly not exhaustive thank you. I want to give thanks for this exhibit, which is really the brainchild of Ed and Audrey Furman. The Furmans represent and themselves embody the spirit and the continuity of the Chronicle. From the very first issue through today, we owe them not just this show, but the fact that for over more than 25 years now, the Chronicle has not yet missed a single issue. Thank you, Ed and Audrey, please. Credit for the display you see goes first to Ellen Moon, who selected and assembled the illustrator collages and figured out how to mount an interesting visual exhibit from a bunch of materials that were not that colorful, to be honest, to begin with. And she got an important assist from Lisa Keskinen and Valerie Fisher, who helped mount the show. I also want to acknowledge the Chronicle directors who put together our anniversary issue, including John Miller and Lisa Samant, and particularly Tom Bechtel's ambitious cataloging of every writer and illustrator who contributed over the paper's 25 years. All, I'm afraid, that's a little under than 400, 387 of them, who are on that list over there. And the real genius of Annie Kosciuszko in not only coming up with the Chronopoly board, but going out and making it into an actual board game that I hope all of you will have a chance to play before you leave it right out there. And it'll be back in the case for the rest of the exhibit to take a look at. But of course, none of us would be here today if it weren't for the initiative and vision of the Chronicle's founders, Tom and Margaret Bevins. And the Bevinsons themselves had the good fortune to quickly involve the couple who institutionalized the paper, Spencer and Bobby Claw. And they could not have succeeded in those early days without other vital writers and artists from the very first year who continued to be mainstays of the paper. Just to name a few, Ed and Audrey again, John Miller, Lisa Samant, Hendon Chubb, Bob and Ginny Potter, Cindy Kirk, Bill Beecher, Ellen Moon, Phil Hart, Ken Keskinen, Charles Osborne, David Bean, Sko Soule. I would read out the other 377 names that you see on the contributors list, but my time's limited. So I'll restrict myself to the scores of eloquent, intelligent, and enthusiastic volunteer writers and inspired artists who made and make the Chronicle something more than just a newspaper. See in particular the 13 illustrators on that wall, and we would have no monthly spot art if it weren't for the careful planning and continuous efforts of Valerie Fisher, who coordinates that. And there would be no calendar on our front page without Chris Jorshock, our calendar editor. There's also the uncredited crew that makes the paper possible, the production team, our designer typesetter Sarah Hermans from Militant, our printer Stacy Moore from More and More, also in Militant. She gives us a good deal all the time. It's amazing what she does every month to make sure the paper comes out on time so you have it in your mailboxes. Our proofreaders, Tom Barrett and Susan Francisco, our managing editor, Ruth Epstein, who took over from Tom Bechtel after Spencer Claw could not serve as publisher and managing director any longer. And once the paper is produced, it has to get to its readers, and for that we rely on John Bevins to do the paperwork and Hunt Williams to do the heavy lifting of the mailbags. Thank you. And finally, let me launch a huge thank you to all the current and former presidents, officers, board members, proofreaders, writers, illustrators, letter writers, mailbag lifters of the past. And then that other group, they're really the sine qua non of the whole operation, the literally 1,000 or more folks whose first financial contributions are recorded in that book, in this book right here, you can see. Started out with a couple of donations, one from the Democratic Town Committee and one from the Republican Town Committee. Can you believe that? This is a nonpartisan publication, but it gets read by everybody and it's appreciated, I hope, by everybody. Anyway, Cornwall, what a town. That's what I don't think this could happen anyplace else. And now I would like to introduce Ella Clark, who's going to read Ken Keskinen's 10th anniversary salute.
Ken was was a wonderful poet. This is his Hail to the Chronicle on its 10th birthday. The Chronicle, hail and hail its crews. Please pardon us while we effuse on how we work, report, amuse, how well we've done and do the news. For we write of farms and marketplaces, of libraries, town office spaces. We write of cows and occupations, of fluctuating populations, of selectmen's calm deliberations on state demands and mill taxations and how to improve kids' educations. We write of how the town has faced road repair and hazardous waste, of dumps that flatten cardboard boxes, of choices made at all the caucuses, of inland wetlands, P&Z, the boards of ed and CHC, of matters mixed that seem to menace like gravel mines and tall antennas. Of doubts we write elucidations to modify our tribulations. We write of every finance budget and how our leaders like to nudge it and how some citizens begrudge it, with events recital, meetings vital, environment issues pesticidal, debate discordant, hope harmonical. For Cornwall's ship of state, the Chronicle is a compass, yes, but not a barnacle. We report the bears, raccoons with rabies, say bye to friends and hi to babies. We honor people, past and present, venerable types and adolescent. We honor firemen, their heroics, and rescue squads with their good works. We write of rummage, cows and chicks, of gnats and birds and smallish ticks. We write of clubs and camaraderies, and all the bucks we spent on lotteries. We publish all the vital stats, but shun all gossip, idle chats. We want to keep our pages filled. We try to keep our news distilled. We show it all, the ebb and flow of history's wave and undertow. We work for pride and take no dough. We're of the fittest, still alive. With readers' help we shall survive. So folks who live by the Housatonical read again their Cornwall Chronicle. No, we're not the mag with the man with the monocle. We're down-home types. We're the Cornwall Chronicle. Sing ho!
We have to sing happy birthday.
Yeah, okay.
Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chronicle. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Many more. Excuse me.
Thank you. Please enjoy.